Welcome to my August 2022 update on the latest current account news and special offers here in the UK. Loads to get through today, including a brand new bank switching offer and a quite interesting update, I think, to the Halifax Rewards account. But let's kick off with some news around Monzo. Monzo Bank has been something that you as viewers of the channel have been really keen on for quite a few years now. I think maybe that love affair has soured slightly, often I think partly because we've got Chase Bank offering something that's better in terms of the cashback and the interest on savings, and Starling Bank making, I think, much better improvements in terms of what it offers as an app. But still, lots of you still big fans of Monzo. It still is a pretty decent proposition as a bank. But the problem that's been over the last 12 months, in fact, probably over the last 24 months, has been what's going on? How are they actually going to be sort of surviving as a bank? Can they survive as a bank? The annual report from last year had a very interesting comment there from the auditors. In fact, it's a similar thing from 24 months ago, so 2 years ago, where the auditors said they had material uncertainty that the bank was going to be able to continue as a going concern. This basically meant that they weren't really convinced that the people running the bank were saying the truth, were correct when they said there's enough money that the bank will keep going over the next 12 months. They thought there was, a very good chance that it would go under. And obviously, that's going to be concerning if you're a Monzo customer. You might consider moving your banking away from them, or at least you might not want to use them for your main bank if you think, well, what if it goes under? Of course, your funds would be protected by the Financial Services Compensation Scheme up to £85,000, so you wouldn't lose out financially, but it would be a bit of a faff, wouldn't it, if that was to happen? Well, the good news in the latest annual report, which came out just a few weeks ago in the middle of July, is that bit has been removed. The auditors now say that it is a going concern. So it will last for the next 12 months. In fact, it says to the end of September 2023. That's their confidence that there's enough money to keep it going at least until then. And that's the kind of the purview of that annual report, of those accounts they're looking at. And they're not looking further away. They're just looking for that period. So that's good news. And this is despite the fact that Monzo is still loss-making. If anything, you're looking at the annual report, you see it's making larger losses than it was before, but it's also making more money. And basically what's happened is they're kind of expanding slightly. So again, if you are a Monzo customer, that is really positive news. Hopefully that means you can carry on. Maybe a little bit of a kind of a back of your mind, slightly worried about that. That can disappear for now. Obviously, you never know what's going to go on in the world, but fundamentally it looks like they're okay. Still, however, and we're not talking about it in detail in this video, not one of my top picks anymore, but it's worth having it. And don't forget, if you haven't got a Monzo account, there is that £5 refer a friend scheme. So you've got to make with Monzo, see if they'll give you a link and you get £5 each. Now let's move on to a more high street bank now. There's something really interesting going on with Halifax. They, in one of their little messages they send to your little inbox, maybe by the post if you still get mail from them, it announced some change to the terms and conditions from the 1st of November. Now these things come through and often they're pretty irrelevant, the stuff. It's minor little things that don't make a huge amount of difference to you. But actually, one of the members of the Andy Clever Cash, Be Clever Your Cash community on Facebook, they spotted something and shared it in the group that you can be from the 1st of November. The Halifax Reward account is no longer going to be limited to one personal account and one joint account. That's the most you can have right now of that account. From the 1st of November, you'll be able to have 3 of these accounts. Now that should mean that you can have 3 lots of the reward. Now that might mean it's £5 a month at the moment. You get 3 lots of that, 15 quid. Or maybe you want to mix and match. So you get £5 from one account, cinema tickets from another, movie rentals from the other. This obviously is assuming they don't change the rewards at the same time that they change this term. I'll let you know obviously if they do, but that I think is a good thing. You obviously will have to meet the criteria with each of those reward accounts to get that bonus. So that will be £1,500 to be paid into the account every single month. You'll also have to choose between £500 paid on your debit card or £5,000 staying in savings every single month, every single day of the month, in fact. Now, your regular viewer, you'll know my favourite there is to use the £500 debit card method and then use your debit card to either pay off your cashback credit card or to transfer money via the debit card, not the bank account, via the debit card to the likes of Monzo or Revolut, which allow that, or anywhere else which allows a savings account, which allows a debit card payment. Now, that may well change again. I'll keep you updated. So I actually had a quick look as well today, just before making this. I opened up a new account, a new reward account. It took me like 2 minutes in the app, probably less than that. Open it up and I was able to select what reward I wanted from this account. I chose the £5 a month and I chose the £500 debit card method. It is not currently showing in the track your rewards part, but this is always a few days behind. So it could be that although the terms and conditions don't change until the 1st of November, you can do it now. It's worth giving it a go if you are a customer, you're thinking to take advantage of this. The worst that's going to happen is you've got an extra account. It's sitting there. Remember to pay in that £1,500 every month, though, to avoid the £3 fee. But then on the 1st of November, suddenly you can start earning those rewards. We shall see. Hopefully, it won't mean to change those rewards. Incidentally, while we are talking about the Halifax Reward account, I do want to share something that happened to me with this account. I had this for a long time now, and I have forgotten, and if I've forgotten, I'm sure some of you as well, but this reward is set for 12 months. I couldn't remember exactly when it was. I knew it was around nowish at some point, but I wasn't that fast. I thought I'd get a letter in the post. I'd forgotten that part of that account is all done paperlessly. It's all in the app. So I had a quick look at these messages. I'm like, oh, blimey. They sent me in the end of May a little reminder that I needed to renew my reward. I need to reactivate it for the next 12 months. So though I got that £5 payment in June, I hadn't had it in July and I won't get it in July. Hopefully I will have done enough to activate it for the August payment, because it comes basically on the 12th of the following month. If you've done all the criteria, you get that payment. So I activated it. It should be fine. The £500 should have tracked. The £1,500 should have tracked. And that should be all okay. But just a nice little reminder to you, just find out you haven't got a message yet. And if you can find out when you first activated that offer, put a note in your diary on repeat every year so you can go in and reactivate that. And if you do end up having multiple accounts with them, 2 or 3 of them, make sure you do that for those as well. Let's stick with Halifax and Lloyds briefly, because we've got some app news for you for them and some other banks. With Halifax and Lloyds, they've just introduced, if you update your app, you can now see your long card details and that 3-digit security number, the CVS, CSV, which one around it is, I always get confused, in the app. So it's quite handy if you want to make a payment and you don't have your card on you, or if you open up a new account and you want to sort of try that £500 payment before the card gets there, maybe towards the end of a month, you'll be able to do that as well. Again, for both those banks, it's a nice little extra feature they'd have. I do think the Halifax and Lloyds apps are pretty decent. They're doing a lot of the things that Starling and Chase and Monzo have been doing, and I think they're doing it quite well compared to the other high street banks. Saying that, Natwest have just introduced a interesting new feature. It's Natwest and RBS. They're the same bank, it's the same app, but they now have a new function where, this is familiar to many of you, where you can send your payment details to someone. If they owe you money, you can split a particular payment, go into your kind of app and say, right, that thing was £5, but you owe me half of that. Send off a request for £2.50 and they get your account details and so on. But what's different about this, and it's called Pay Me, this feature, is that you can ask it for that money via a QR code. And I thought this sounds a bit gimmicky, but I just tried it again just now before filming this with my wife, generated a QR code. She scanned it. Straight away, it opened up a NatWest page, which then let you choose your banking app. She tapped on her bank. It opened up that banking app and all the details were there populated, ready to go. So it literally took 30 seconds for her to send me just a quid. Thought, give it a try. That's actually pretty nice. I quite like that. Again, bit gimmicky, but if you are out and about and you've got a Natwest or RBS account and someone owes you money, you're splitting the bill, whatever it is, get that QR code, do it there and then. There's no faffing around entering in payment details and sort codes or anything like that. Really, really, really quick. There'll also be some changes to the Starling app, and this is particularly focused around paying in cheques. Yes, I know not many of us ever get hands on cheques anymore, but if you do, there are a handful of banks that allow you to do this. Not a huge number, but Halifax does, First Direct does, a few others. I've got a whole article taking you through these. But Starling is the one, it's my main current account, so Starling is the one that I've used in the past when I've had a cheque. They've made some changes which make it even easier. So you now have got different limits with this. Each cheque itself, the limit is increased from £500 to £1,000 per cheque. And before, in fact, if it's over £1,000 now, you still have to do it differently, send it off. But that makes things a lot easier. And they've also changed the limit to how much you can pay in via cheque. It used to be 5 cheques a week. Now that's changed to £2,000 worth of cheques, across however many cheques that might be, for a personal account, and £5,000 on a business account. So again, don't think many people are going to use this, but it's handy to know about if you do have that facility and have the Starling app. And one more thing to say about apps and updates. Just a reminder, make sure you do go in on a regular basis and update your banking apps. I mean, you should do it for all of them, but particularly the banking ones. So I had a thing the other week where I was making a payment with my Chase card, an online payment. It wanted me to go into the app to authorize that payment. We're used to this now. This is part of that 2-factor authentication thing, which has been going for a while now with most digital payments. Went into the app to do it. I couldn't because the app needed to be updated. Now, I was at home. I was on Wi-Fi. Within like a few seconds, the app had updated. It wasn't a massive update. I was only doing one app at that time, and I was able to still approve that payment. But it's worth bearing that in mind, that if that this could happen, even if you don't regularly do this, but it's worth just ensuring you do update them as often as you can to make sure they up to spec. Now let's end this one today with some special offers that to tell you about. There's one which is on the cards. Hasn't happened just yet, but I will update you as soon as we have full information about this. And this is news that First Direct are trialling a refer a friend scheme. They don't have details of exactly how it's going to work. It looks like there's £50 available. I assume that's £50 for you as the referrer and £50 for the person who signs up on top of the money they get from switching bank, because that bank switching deal there is 150 quid. So if it is going to be like that, it's great for you. It's also great for them because they'll get even more money. But it may not be like that. They might not even continue after the trial, but it's out there. And it may well be if you are a First Direct customer, you've already got access to this. I haven't got access to it, but a member of the community, the Facebook group, they did have access to it. So again, have a look, see if you can get this, see if you can get someone to sign up, if it's worth your while and worth their while. We've got some more information about student welcome offers. I will do a full video on this very soon, probably around A-level results day, because that's when I think people are really going to start thinking about what bank they might want to go for, where they're going, they get their acceptance for places for uni and so on. I told you last month about HSBC and NatWest offers. We now know that Nationwide will give you £10 to shelter plus £100 to you for signing up, and Santander will give a 4-year rail card for free. So again, different options. I'll assess them all and the bigger decisions you need to make around student accounts in a week or so. But let's end then with the big news, the big switching offer that is around this month, and it is the return of Santander. Santander, if you switch to one of their accounts, you will get £160. This is 20 quid more than last offer, which ran January to March, and 30 quid more than the offer which ran sort of the autumn of last year. So this is a good deal, and it's a sign that they're all kind of pushing up, aren't they? You know, Lloyds and Halifax, they moved up from 100, 125 to 150 quid. First Direct, again, that normally used to be 100, 125. That's now 150 quid most of the time. HSBC, when it's running, hasn't been one for a while. I imagine there'll be one back very soon. Again, that's around normally a higher paying one, 170, 180 quid. So bank switching bit offers are getting bigger, and this Santander one, that is their biggest one yet, 160 quid. So who can get this? Well, I have got a whole article on the blog, so I will link to that below. So make sure you do read that, which goes through all the different terms and conditions that you have to sort of be aware of. But fundamentally, you can get this if you're a new Santander current account customer or an existing Santander current account customer, as long as you have not had switching money from them before. And that's not just this current offer, which has been running since, say, roughly 12 months ago, but also they used to have a kind of £50 refer a friend scheme, which ran, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago. That would rule you out as well, okay? So you have had no money from Santander effectively in the past for switching bank. You can get this. You also then need to follow a few steps. So not only do you have to have one of the eligible accounts, my pick obviously is going to be the 123 Lite account. That's the one where you get cash back on your bills. I wouldn't bother with any of the others, okay? Go to the 123 Lite account. There is a fee that comes with that, £2 a month, but you get cash back on your bills. The only reason not to go for that account is if you do not pay the bills in your household. In that case, just go for their standard account, which has no charges but no frills, because you're getting this just for the switching bonus, not for your everyday banking. So once you've got that account or already have that account, you then need to obviously start that switch process. The switch needs to be from an external bank. You can't switch Santander to Santander. You know, people get confused about this all the time. Doesn't matter how much I say it. When you switch, it has to be from a different bank, and that previous bank has to be closed down. Hence why I did a whole video recently looking at dummy accounts, extra ones you can set up just for switching. So check that video out if you haven't already seen it. Once you've started that switch process in play, you've got the new account open, your existing account open, you need to pay in £1,000 within 60 days. The money does not have to stay there. It just needs to have been paid into that account in that time, okay? You can pay it straight in, straight out again. You can do it in installments. The same £100 could go in and out 10 times if you wanted. You just need to make sure that's happened before 60 days is up from you opening that account. You also need to set up 2 direct debits. Don't have to have switched them over from the old account. They can be new account direct debits that you set up in the Santander account once you opened it. But the money they have to be activated. The money has to have left those direct debits, again, before those 60 days are up. Now, there are some quick and fast direct debits. Again, a whole video on that. You can check that one out if you want to, which you'll be able to set up very quickly to ensure you meet that criteria. But on the whole, if you do that just as soon as you open up the account, that should be fine. Of course, if you've got them in your previous account, you can switch those over as well. That's no problem at all, okay? As long as there are some active direct debits in the account before 60 days are up. You also need to log into the online or app banking within that 60 days period. As long as you do all of that, then you'll get that money, that 160 quid, within the next 30 days. Now, when I did it a year ago, the money actually came quite fast, but there is the potential you might have to wait 3 months for this money to come along. So that's the new switching offer. Remember, I did talk about last month in the update about the other offers. Halifax, First Direct, Nationwide, Virgin Money all have switching deals right now. So make sure you do check those out. And in fact, I've got details on all of these different things. BeCleverYourCash.com/banks. My name is Andy Webb. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you leave a comment below. Let me know if you're going to be able to take advantage of any of these offers or deals. Hit that like button and tell your friends. And don't forget there are even more videos you can watch right now to help you get the most from your bank.